Early primary voting in Minnesota is underway for the first time in nearly 30 years. Early voting in the state began on January 17th ahead of Super Tuesday voting, which is on March 3rd. President Trump nearly won the state in 2016, but ultimately lost to Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton in the state by 1.5% margin. Esme Murphy is a reporter and anchor for CBS in our CBS station, WCCO in Minneapolis, and she joins us with more. Good to see you, Esme.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vlad.
So how will the new primary voting system impact how people in Minnesota are used to voting?
Well, the big difference is that the turnout is going to be much, much higher. In 2016, the turnout with the caucuses, which was a near record, was at about 8%. Here, they're expecting at least close to a 50% turnout. So that's the main difference here. You're going to have more people voting. And with this extended, longest early voting period, it's 46 days you have a chance to vote before that March 3rd primary. A lot of people will get to participate.
So how is this being anticipated to affect voter turnout in the state? If a lot of people are expected to participate in this, what kind of numbers are we talking?
You know, I think we're talking, I think it's going to be around 50%. Now, granted, on the Republican side, you only have the president and you have write-ins. None of the other Republicans that are running got into that primary according to the party's rules. But I think you're going to have an awful lot of people. And we have seen at appearances by these candidates who have come to Minnesota, and they have come to Minnesota even despite the presence of Senator Amy Klobuchar in the race. You're seeing a very energized voting base. And according to the reports that I've been hearing about early voter turnout, it's very high, and it's only been a week in.
Minnesota Secretary of State Steve Simon is expected, as you know, to introduce legislation next month that would limit what parties can do with voters' ballot information. So what kind of restrictions is he hoping to put in place, and how are they being received?
Well, what's going on here, Vlad, is something that's a little bit of inside Minnesota baseball. In most states, New York, for example, Florida, Pennsylvania, you have to register before you vote in the primary. You have to register whether you're going to vote in the Democratic primary or the Republican primary. Minnesota's never had that, but they do have it in this primary. And quite frankly, a lot of people are freaking out. So Steve Simon, the Secretary of State, is proposing a law that would limit what the parties can do with that. I don't think this is going to be an issue that's going to suppress the overall voter turnout, though.
As we mentioned, Esme, President Trump almost won Minnesota in the 2016 election. He's been pretty outspoken about his desire to flip the state in 2020. Could winning the state in the general election have an effect on other candidates down ballot?
Well, I think it absolutely could, although Minnesotans do have a history of splitting their ballots. But I think the president's push for Minnesota is very real. And while obviously national media outlets like yourself and CBS and the networks are focusing on the national outlook, you cannot overestimate or underestimate, rather, the amount of time and effort that the Trump campaign has in terms of this jump that they have of investing in states and their ground game. It's very impressive, and they are working very, very hard. And they are at every opportunity providing surrogates for people like me, just, you know, a local reporter at a local station, to be able to talk to even national surrogates for the president. They really are investing heavily in these local states, and they've got the ground game on both here and in Wisconsin.
So given the state is in play, have you seen a similar focus by the DNC ahead of the primaries?
Well, no, because they can't, because they don't have a candidate yet. And the problem is that this primary battle and caucus battle, the polls are all over the map. As you know, as you've been reporting on, there's no clear front runner. You have sort of Michael Bloomberg, who is positioned to possibly swoop in at the last minute. And every week that this goes on with the Democrats undecided about a front runner, you have the president in these states in running his ground game, and I think that is very, very significant and can't be overlooked. Democrats will have a lot of catching up to do when they finally settle on a nominee.
So are any of the potential nominees visiting the state and talking to voters?
You know, they absolutely are. First of all, President Trump has been here numerous times. His surrogates have been here numerous times. We've never seen anything quite like it in Minnesota. We're used to being overlooked. So the president has definitely been here. Surrogates Lara Trump was just here last week. As for the Democrats, this is really interesting because obviously Senator Amy Klobuchar is extremely popular here. So you'd think that they'd all be staying away. Not so. Michael Bloomberg was just here last week. He plans to open count them, eight campaign offices around the state. That's an awful lot. He has hired some top people. He is working very hard. He says he's going to fight for Minnesota. He says, if you don't vote for Amy, vote for me. Elizabeth Warren came here this summer, and it was the largest campaign appearance to date that she had. They estimate they had 12,000 people there over the summer at an appearance in St. Paul. That's remarkable. I was there, and there were an awful lot of people. And remember, you've got Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders crushed Hillary Clinton in 2016 in this state. He is very popular here. He has the backing of one of the squad, Representative Ilhan Omar. And just a few weeks ago, he had a very raucous rally that they had to move to a bigger arena, a basketball arena, to accommodate the crowd. It was an appearance with Representative Ilhan Omar. So you have people fighting for Minnesota. You've got a diverse Democratic Party here, and they are definitely paying attention, and they are looking towards Super Tuesday.
All right, Esme Murphy for us at our station WCCO in Minneapolis. Great analysis and reporting. Thank you so much, Esme. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.